What's going on, guys? Now in today's video I'm going to be ranking every single thing that turns a woman off, from Sahara desert level turn off, meaning GG, you're finished, you might as well pack it up and leave. She completely lost interest in you and there's nothing you could do to make it recover, unless you're like a fucking top tier looking guy or whatever the fuck. And then we have an extreme turn off, which is pretty bad. You know, you don't want to do any of these things that are going to be in that category. A big turn off, like we all do these by mistake, but it's still recoverable or you can redeem yourself. Normal turn offs is a level below that. And then we have slight turn offs, which is like things you can actually get away with, things that you can do occasionally, and it's not going to be a complete interest killer. She's still going to stick around, but you also want to limit these because hoes are hoes and they're going to get turned off by everything. But I also wanted to say, guys, thank you for subscribing and blowing up my channel. I appreciate all the support. I'm almost at 1,000, so if you haven't subscribed, please do. It'll help me out. And yeah, let's get into the video. So before we start, you might be wondering why I didn't include some other turn offs. Like some women might say that not listening to them is a turn off, or being disrespectful is a turn off, or you know, talking about yourself all the time is a turn off. But I've actually found that a lot of the things that women say turn them off don't, because they have a woman brain, and like basically womanese, if you're going to translate it, just whatever they say, do the exact opposite. Whatever they say, if they say, I don't like a guy who does X, you better do fucking X, okay? You better do that shit. And let me just prove this to you guys. If I search up female turn offs, then you can see here that they have some like retarded ass things like bad kissing, insecure. Like, what the fuck does this mean, bro? That's why I'm not taking any list. I made my own list of things that actually turn them off. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. First off, we have being too available. This one is a huge interest killer. If you're always there for her, if you're always available, if you always have time to make, like, let's say she fucking hits you up on Monday and she's like, hey, let's hang out. And you're like, of course, sure. And then you hang out with her on Monday and then she hits you up the next day and she's like, let's hang out. And you're like, sure. And then you're all of a sudden hanging out with her 7 days a week, like you have nothing else to do with your life. You might think from your perspective that, oh, because I'm investing time in her and I'm doing all these things for her, surely she's going to appreciate that and value me as a guy, because she's like, oh, look at how sweet this guy is. He's putting in time to see me. He cares about me. Actually, what they do see with their fucking woman brain is, holy shit, this guy has no life. Holy shit, this guy's valuing me so much, I must be better than him. He's putting me on such a pedestal, I must be better than him. Again, don't hate the player, hate the game. If you don't want to believe me, it's okay. Just try this out for yourself. Be too available, make all the time for her, and watch how quickly she disrespects you and leaves the interaction, okay? I'm speaking from experience, and I'm speaking from the experience of other guys as well. You need to have your own life. You need to always be doing things with your own time. The best and healthiest relationships I've ever seen are ones where the guy's kind of doing his own thing, fucking training, fucking seeing his friends, doing all that stuff, and then she has her own thing, and then they see each other occasionally, okay? To create polarity, create distance, guys. Don't be afraid of creating some separation and distance with a woman. It actually turns her on more. The less you communicate, the more she wants to communicate. And a lot of guys need to just be more patient. Just because she didn't reply to you for like a day or two does not mean she completely didn't lose interest. What she will do is actually lose interest if you get desperate and double text. And unfortunately, this is like an extreme turnoff. Next up, we have lack of frame. All lack of frame means is not being in control of the situation and not having her enter your world. So you're the one entering her world. What do I mean by this? Let's say you're having a conversation with a girl. You're talking about topics that she wants to talk about. She's leading the conversation. Like, you're replying on her pace and her tempo. And this is not good, because like, you want her to be in your world, because dude, like, stop pretending that you're fucking interested in her life, bro. You're really not, okay? How many times have you guys talked to girls and sat there pretending to listen because you heard some random ass advice on YouTube that, oh, women love a great listener? Dude, they actually hate inauthentic people, and it's inauthentic of you to pretend to care about what the fuck's going on in her life. Unless she's actually an interesting woman, which, let's be real, like 99% of them are not, then don't pretend. Make the conversation about something that you want to talk about. Activate the frame control like a fucking anime character. Every time she's talking, bitch, frame control. And then now she's entering your world. This doesn't just apply to conversations. This applies to pretty much everything. When you guys hang out, when you guys go on dates, everything has to be according to your tempo and your will, and they actually like that and they respect it. So I'm gonna put lack of frame control at a big turn off. You can still kind of recover if you lose frame in some situations, but for the most part you should really be the one controlling the interactions and talking about the things you want to talk about, taking her on dates to places you want to go. Next up, we have asking her to be your girlfriend. Now some of you guys might be saying, what the fuck, how is that even a turn off? Like, we've all done this, I've done this, but here's the thing, okay? When you ask a girl to be your girlfriend and you don't wait for her to ask you, I don't know why, the female psychology, something just fucking flips in their brain and they just get completely turned off by it. They don't like it. They start to doubt your status level. They start to doubt whether you're actually the right man for them. And I think a part of that has to do with the fact that if you're asking for commitment from her, it shows that you need her. It shows that you're obsessed with these labels and concepts, and you can't just go with the flow and just talk to her and see where things go. You need to lock her in. You're so insecure that you feel like if you don't make things official and create the label of boyfriend and girlfriend, that she's gonna leave you or that she's gonna cheat on you or something. What I personally recommend is always let the girl ask to be your girlfriend. Never ask them, because she could have sky high interest for you. And I've seen this so much. And I'm actually gonna put a clip of Bryce Hall asking his girlfriend to be his, and watch the doubt and the level of like how turned off and confused she is by that question.
Thank you. Mika, Bryce wants to talk to you. Hey guys, quiet, quiet. Hey, quiet, quiet. Listen, listen.
Would you be my girlfriend? Is that like, you have to answer? It's like a yes or no question.
I'm gonna have to think about it.
Okay. It's not like a marriage. It's not really much to think
You've
about.
been with him for a year.
That's crazy.
And a half.
But you gotta think about it.
I have to think about it.
Okay,
And this is just one example. This has happened to so many high status, like high level guys, where, bro, no offense, but they're literally 10 times better than the girl, and she will still doubt their value when they ask her out. And for that reason, I'm going to put this at Sahara Desert level turnoff. Now, I'm not saying that if you ask her to be your girlfriend that she'll never say yes. She might say yes, but it will still turn her off deep inside. Next up, we have being emotional in front of her. We all know how this goes. They tell you to be vulnerable. They tell you to express your emotions. And then when you do, they get completely turned off by you because it shows weakness, and then they start to feel unsafe around you. Unfortunately, as a man, you have to be rock solid with your emotions. I'm not saying that if something tragic happens to just sit there and pretend to be a fucking robot. You're still a human being. We're still going to experience emotions. That is fine, but there's a time and a place to express those emotions, okay? Don't be going to her about all of your problems, you know, telling her how you feel all the time. Your guy friends are for that, and people who are actually going to help you in life, like your family, are for that, okay? Being emotional kills attraction. It kills seduction. This is a Sahara Desert level turnoff, bro. How many girls do you know gossip about their boyfriends being emotional in front of them and how it completely turned them off? Like, I don't even have to show you guys clips from podcasts and stuff. Next up, being too horny. So if you're a guy who always needs touch and intimacy and you're always trying to get sexual with a girl all the time, believe it or not, they start to get turned off by that because you come off as this guy who doesn't have any sexual discipline and control, and that you're basically a fucking squirrel looking for a nut. Okay, calm yourself down. Let her initiate contact sometimes. Let her be the one to start the sexual process instead of you always having to do it. And watch how her desire for you turns on when she's the one who has to put in a little bit of work to make things happen. So being too horny, this is an extreme turn off. Next up, we have not being a leader. So the thing about hoes is they're pretty stupid and they can't make their own decisions 99% of the time. Like, how many times have you seen a fucking girl say, I don't know where to eat, and she keeps thinking and debating and spending hours deciding where the fuck to go out to eat or what movie to watch or basic things like that? If you're with them, just make a decision. And my advice to you is pick the thing that you like and just go with it. Because if you like it and she likes you, she's gonna like it. Because girls are retarded like that. Because women will pick up on your interests and hobbies if they like you. So you don't have to worry about whether she actually likes something, because that's a very moldable process. You can make her like something as long as she likes you. So not being a leader, unfortunately, this is also a pretty big turnoff. Make sure that you guys are always wearing the pants in the relationship. Next up, we have being boring. And I'm just gonna immediately put this over here because there is nothing that turns a woman off more than a boring person, okay? If you're the type of person who has a lifestyle where like you're home all day and you know, let's say you're playing video games and all you do is go to the gym like every day, which I'll be honest, that's kind of most of us guys, because we're simple, right? We don't care about the yachts and the parties and the luxury and shit. As long as we have one girl who we're with, we can chill at home. That's all we need. Unfortunately, girls don't think that way. They want you to be a fun and exciting guy who has a little bit of drama in his life and who's always doing cool things like traveling and like having all these cool experiences and going out and stuff. So if you're a boring person, from a lifestyle perspective, that's really going to turn her off. But another thing that also turns her off is if you're a boring conversationalist. When you're talking to a girl, why do so many guys talk to girls like she's their fucking coworker at Starbucks or some shit? Like, hey, how was work today? Oh, when did you get off? Oh, what are you doing in university? What's your degree? Dude, stop having these types of retarded conversations with girls. Like, when you're talking to a girl, you have to take her to a fantasy land. You have to make her experience a whole range of emotions. The last thing you want to do is remind her of the real world and the stress and the boredom that comes with day-to-day life. You want your conversation with her to be a gateway into something more fun, into fantasy and into emotion. Okay, that is how you avoid boring a girl with conversation. And one of the best ways to do that is to make her laugh a lot, is to crack jokes, is to be sarcastic, is to make if you guys want a video on that, I can break it down, but the last thing you want to do is be boring, okay? So that's a Sahara Desert level turnoff. Next up, lacking confidence. This is also a Sahara Desert level turnoff. We all know women love confident men. And what really is confidence? Confidence is just having conviction in what you do and what you say. And a lack of confidence comes from a lack of identity. So a man who knows himself and a man who puts in the work every single day, he's going to show up, he's going to be confident, and he's not going to be filled with shame. If you're jerking off every single day, if you're doing all the wrong things, if you're not living according to your true potential, then the lack of confidence is going to seep through your eyeballs and she's going to be able to tell. Next up, her friends don't back you. So women have a very groupthink mindset where like they really value the opinion of their friends. Dude, if I like a girl and I have 3 of my boys and they say, dude, that girl's not even that hot, I don't give a fuck what they think, because if I find her hot, I'm still going to go for her. Women are the opposite of that. If she finds you hot, but her friend's like, I don't know, like he's not that good looking of a guy, and like, I don't know, I think you can do better, she will actually believe her retarded dumb friends. And this is really something that you don't have much control over. Like, her friends could just be salty individuals who don't want the best for her, because let's be real, if you're talking to a girl and her friends are uglier than her, they're gonna try to bring her down because the girls are just jealous like that. So unfortunately, if her friends don't back you, I would put this at normal turn off. Like if the girl has strong character, she's not gonna let that play too much of a factor into it. But women really value their friends' input, so it is what it is. Next up, we have lack of competence. And this could actually range from a big turnoff to a Sahara Desert level turnoff, depending on what the situation is. So for example, let's say you get stranded on the side of the road with a girl and you don't know how to change a tire, right? That's probably going to be a big turnoff. Because it's like, bro, you're a man, you should know how to change a tire. But let's say you get knocked out by a guy at a bar in front of her and you're just laid flat on the ground. That's probably a Sahara Desert level turnoff, because it shows that you can't protect her and that you just got slumped by a dude. And honestly, these things happen, but it's like women will get turned off by it. So I'm going to go for the middle ground and put it at extreme turnoff. Next up, she thinks you can't do better. This is a Sahara Desert level turnoff. Look, I'm not saying that you need to be this guy who has like 1,000 bitches on his dick and you're texting all these girls. What I am saying though is that you at some point down the line have to show her that you can leave and that you're fine being by yourself and that you don't necessarily need her. Because if a woman gets the whiff that she can do better than you or that you can't do better than her, she's going to start exploring other options and she's going to start distancing herself and being more emotionally cold towards you. So you always have to be working on your attractiveness. You always have to be working on yourself as a man so that you always appear at your best, because if she thinks that you can't do better than her, or she thinks that like you're head over heels obsessed with her, she's gonna start either manipulating you or getting ready to leave you. Next up, we have bad hygiene, and I'm just gonna put this over here. This doesn't need any explanation. Brush your fucking teeth, floss, put on deodorant. I don't have to explain any of that, but not the aluminum ones, because that shit has chemicals that seep into your body and lower your testosterone, but that's for a completely different video. Next up, we have farting. If you're 2 years in the relationship, farting is not going to be a huge turnoff, maybe a slight one. But bro, if you're on a first date and you're ripping ass like a motherfucker, I hate to break it to you, that's an extreme turnoff. Don't be like, hold that shit in, bro. Not having male friends, this is a big turnoff. I've seen some guys get away with it where like they always hang out with their girlfriend 24/7 and they don't hang out with any guys. But for the most part, bro, if you're like whole world revolves around the girl and you have no life outside of her, she's gonna start to question, like, what the fuck is this guy doing with his life and why is he so obsessed with me? Being too needy, this is also an extreme turnoff. For the same reason being too available is an extreme turnoff. Gossiping and complaining. Now, obviously, you know, you shouldn't gossip because it shows weak character and like, bro, why are you talking shit about people behind their backs? But also, you know, if a woman is gossiping to you, her emotions are very engaged, so you don't want to just completely shut off the gossip, be like, no, I don't gossip, okay? Trying to act all masculine and shit. You can entertain a little bit of gossip in a non-harmful way, but don't overdo it. So like, I would say this is a slight turnoff. Like, it's obviously a bigger turnoff if you're fucking sat there talking shit about all your friends and talking shit about everyone to her and being a little bitch pretty much. But if you know how to gossip in a fun and playful way where you're not actually causing harm, then I would say it's a slight turnoff. Like, you can get away with it. Smiling too much, I would say it's a slight turnoff. I actually read a study that women prefer men who don't smile. Like, if you have the same guy and you have some side-by-side pics of one of him like smiling, one of him having a neutral facial expression, and one of him having like an aggressive, angry facial expression, they prefer the aggressive and angry one. But I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna smile if I want to smile. Like, who cares? Next up, over investing. This is also a big turnoff because if she's not putting in any effort in the relationship and you're going out of your way to please and impress her and do a lot of things for her, it signals low value on your end and it signals that you're pretty much pussy whipped over her. Playing it too safe, I would say that's a normal turnoff. Like, some girls like guys who don't push things too fast, but if you're playing it way too safe, like you don't initiate any physical contact, you wait for her to do every single little thing, then that could also turn them off because she's like, this guy isn't assertive and he's not making decisions. Next up, we have cheating. Now, unfortunately, because we're in 2024 in this weird modern generation, now a long time ago, I would have thought this was a Sahara desert level turnoff because who likes to be cheated on? But the more I've gotten to know and understand women, the more I realized cheating doesn't actually turn them off. For some women, it may even turn them on because she's like, oh, look at this guy getting all these other girls. There must be something special about him that I don't know. But obviously for the overwhelming majority of women, they don't like being cheated on necessarily. But I've seen them stay in relationships despite the man cheating countless times. So I don't know what to make of this. For now, I'm just going to put it at slight turnoff. Even though it should be a major turnoff, but these hoes are crazy. Next up, trying too hard. This is obviously a big turnoff. Stop trying so hard, bro. You can try hard in every aspect of life except women. Every aspect of life, trying hard is going to yield you the best results. But with women, you want to do the exact opposite. Don't try at all. Next up, we have yapping. Now, a woman will sit there and say, oh, I hate guys who talk so much about themselves. They're such narcissists. He should be a better listener. But bitch, you're so boring. I have to talk about myself because my life is so much more entertaining and better than yours. So yapping, this is a slight turnoff. Like, if you do it in the right way, it's not a turnoff at all. But ideally, you don't want to yap too much, you know, keep it to a minimum. Next up, being too nice. This is a Sahara Desert level turnoff because being too nice makes you too boring, which makes her look for the exit immediately. Again, it's okay to be a little bit edgy, guys. It's okay to be a little bit offensive. Make some jokes that may cause a negative emotion in her, okay? Take some risks. Say stuff that is not necessarily politically correct, or say things that you find funny, but that she may not necessarily find funny. Because if you're too nice, you're too bland, you're too boring, and she's gonna leave. Lastly, we have being incongruent, and all this means is when your actions don't match your words. So when you say that you're somebody, or you try to present yourself as someone, but then over time she starts to see chinks in your armor because you're not acting in the way that she first thought you were. So for example, if on the first date you took her to an expensive restaurant and then all the other dates you take her to like a cheap restaurant, she's gonna be like, wait, on the first date he presented himself as this rich guy who likes to go out and be fancy, but now he's taking me to these like broke places. So be congruent. If you're broke, just take her to the park or take her for ice cream. Don't try to be someone you're not. Another example of incongruence is when you try to present yourself as a player who gets a lot of girls, but then she finds out that she's the only girl you're talking to. So the whole point with women is you want to have an identity that you're consistent and solid with. Okay, you don't want to change who you are. So being incongruent is a pretty extreme turnoff. Alright guys, I hope this video helped. This is the breakdown of every single thing that turns women off and the rankings. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. And if you have any other suggestions for future content, let me know as well. It's been your boy YBC2Cold, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.